to Freshly Forever, a podcast that gives you fascinating insights week after week. Here's your host, Vi Kumar.
Our guest today is Vidhya Kripashankar, who is a certified Yoga Alliance USA instructor. She's trained to teach yoga therapy, hatha, prenatal, vinyasa, pranayama, and meditation. She currently lives in India and writes on yoga practice and answers queries on the website. Delighted to have you with us here, Vidhya.
Hi, Reddy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm also extremely happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. A lot of people know about yoga, and yet so many are not aware of the origin or what it means. Can you shed some light on this?
So what is yoga? I'll take it in two parts. What is yoga? Yoga is means actually union or integration between mind, body, and breath. It also says that it is a union between Jivatma and Paramatma, from your individual self to universal self. To reach this goal, yoga has different asanas, postures, breathing techniques, relaxation techniques, and meditation. That itself is a sadhana to reach there. And that is what is yoga. It originated in India several thousand years ago. Writings have been seen in Vedas, but the systematic presentation of yoga has been defined by Maharishi Patanjali. That's how it originated. And then in 1800s, it went to West, became popular. And now we have yoga institutes everywhere, yoga teachers everywhere, and it's pretty popular.
So we hear hatha yoga, vinyasa, hot yoga, yin yoga, and so on. What are these different forms and how do they differ from one another?
So these different forms of yoga are hatha, as you say, vinyasa, bhava yoga. We have Iyengar yoga, Ashtanga yoga, yin yoga. And now we have acro yoga, aerial yoga, goat yoga, bear yoga. But mainly the popular ones are hatha yoga, which is focused on asana, which are postures, and breathing techniques, which works on the strength and the flexibility of a person. Vinyasa yoga is postures, asanas, which flow in a sequence. You flow from one asana to another asana. You move from one asana to another asana. There is power yoga, which is more aerobic in nature and it's more of strength inducing. Iyengar yoga is, of course, focusing on alignment, detailing, and you hold pose in that for a longer time, breathe and stay in the pose for maybe 1-2 minutes. There is Ashtanga yoga, which has a set of sequence, and they have some 6 series of sequencing sets. It's little intense on physical body, but it requires little coordination and flexibility as well. There is yin yoga, which targets the connective tissues, and here also this is more relaxing. This increases the blood circulation. You hold pose for 5 minutes at least. Of course, those other yogas are all newly formed, the styles of yoga. Aerial yoga, where you do asanas in the air.
So we hear about this hot yoga and all these other different things now. So what exactly is that?
Hot yoga it's performed in a hot room. This is not my favorite because it can overstretch. It can cause dehydration. It's easy to manipulate the muscle, which can cause injury. It can also overstretch in terms of the muscles, but the tendons and ligaments are not flexible. They are more stiff. So then the injury prone practice, I would say. Blood vessels can dilate. It can cause blood pressure. And because of that, your heart rate can go up. People think that, because you sweat a lot and they feel that they have worked out more and they're releasing toxins. But it's for me, safe practice is more important. Being careful in the practice, not injuring yourself is more important. So that's why this is not my favorite, but it's very popular.
Oh, totally get it. Was it even intended by the yogis of long ago?
I don't think so, because we know yogis from Himalayas, which is not hot area at all. So then I don't think so.
How is it that one can benefit from doing yoga, say in its other different forms like Hatha Yoga or Vinyasa or whatever else you explained earlier?
Benefits of yoga, when you say it increases the muscle tone and it gives strength to the muscles, to your joints. It increases the mobility, flexibility of joints. You can work on muscle tone. It also works on your lymphatic system when we do a lot of asanas, which removes toxins, works directly on your kidneys and your liver. And also, when you do breathing exercises along with the asana, breathing in certain way, it eases the stress and reduces the anxiety level in our body. Of course, with the correction of the posture, like not hunching, standing tall, standing straight, that gives you a good blood circulation in your body, removing all the congestion from our body. All of us will have congestion, and that removes with the asana. That gets removed from the asanas. It reduces your aches and pains. It improves sleep. And the slower you do, more benefit in terms of your nervous system. And it improves your spine health. Lots, it can keep going. It improves your cardiovascular health. It supplies oxygen to all the organs. These are the 10 most, I would say.
Who can do yoga? Is there anyone who should avoid it? Is there like a ripe age to start it? Would you just recommend anything on those lines?
Yoga is for everyone, for all age group. Of course, you have to be above 8 to start doing yoga. Kids can do it as a playful act, but otherwise, a proper hatha yoga a child can start after 8 years. Anyone who should avoid, I don't think anyone should avoid. Yoga can be modified for every person. If a person is sick, if a person cannot do, for example, if a person has a heart problem or asthma or a knee problem, they have to avoid a few things, but there are other things that they can do. They can get better and continue to do all asana. Like, for example, if a person has back pain, he or she cannot do a forward bend, but a forward bend can be safely done with care, and that can be taught by the teacher. Of course, therapeutically they can get better and do it, unless they are bedridden or surgery which has happened. Only those people should avoid for some time until they get better. And yoga is for everyone.
Oh, that's good news. What about the inner well-being that yoga brings? We all hear about it, we read about it. If you can touch upon the inner peace, well-being and healing aspects of yoga, I think that'll be a huge insight here.
Yoga practice, breathing pattern gets corrected and a pranic balance is brought in. All asanas, either whether it is a standing asana or a forward bend or a back bend, all of it has its own benefit of emotional stability, bringing calmness to your mind, elevating your mood, increasing the energy, increasing your happiness quotient. At the end of a practice, whether it is a single day practice or after a week, after a month, after a year, a person will feel the changes happening from inside, from within. How they perceive a situation, how they react to a situation, not getting anxious about things that are happening around them. So those are all long-term benefit that they can see with the practice.
So, how does it relate to our modern day lifestyle and present day world scenario?
Modern day lifestyle has become very stressful these days. The nowadays the lifestyle is such that we are sitting at a desk for a long time, and most of the population are more stressed than ever before. The eating habits have changed, and all these are prone to lifestyle related disease. Adding COVID to our situation now, many people are getting depressed and anxious about the whole situation. What if I fall sick, and what happens to me? And just being confined to the house itself, is very depressing. Yoga addresses all of these emotional issues, and with the yoga practice, it brings a balance not only to the physical body, but emotionally, physiologically, all changes you will see with the yoga practice. So all this can be handled with a with the perfect, whatever style of yoga that you choose. And it is certainly will bring a good benefit for that person.
So, for a beginner, as far as choosing a style, would it be something that a teacher can guide them and help them get started, or is it beneficial to look at videos and get started? What is your take on that?
For beginners, definitely first-hand instruction is more beneficial, because there are a lot of do's and don'ts in terms of if a person has any limitations like a knee pain or a back pain, or like if they have a blood pressure or diabetes, there are certain things that they cannot do. We all tend to make mistakes, and especially definitely in the beginning stages of learning to do a good yoga posture. If a teacher is there, and he or she can correct. And also, if there is any limitation, it is better to let the teacher know, so that, as I said, yoga is for everyone. So the asana, the posture, can be modified to suit that person. And do's and don'ts: practice in a ventilated space. Any aches and pains that they have to be careful with the practice that they are choosing.
That makes sense. I'm just curious, does yoga and diet have any correlation?
Yoga talks about balance in everything. Whether you want to eat, sleep, exercise, whatever you do, there should be a balance. Overdoing anything is not good. And there comes a diet where it talks about mitahara, where you eat a sattvic diet. What is needed is what you will eat, not more, not less. Going without food is not good, but overeating is also not good. Some balanced diet, how much you need for that meal is what you will take, and that is what yoga talks about.
When you say sattvic diet, can you just expand on that, just so every listener who is not familiar with that also can understand and be able to appreciate what we are trying to address here?
Sattvic diet is more nourishing, more calming. It is no meat and not too spicy, more of vegetable. It is more of seasonal food with whole grains, legumes, and the protein comes from the legumes and the dal that we talk about in India, and it is very pure, natural, energetic. That is a vegetarian diet. It is a regime that we follow with the sattvic diet.
So it's in conjunction with the practice of the asanas. So it helps nourish your body and plays a major role in aiding that inner peace and well-being. Is that like a fair understanding?
That is correct.
Okay, great. What about yoga for people who are pregnant? So we hear a lot about yoga during maternity. And what is recommended, and how should one practice yoga during maternity?
Prenatal yoga for to-be mom gives a stress relief, and it keeps her body active, it keeps her mind calm, it prepares your pelvic floor. The breathing helps in the labor. It encourages gentle stretching. It can alleviate back pain, which usually any of to-be mom's problem. The first one is like, oh, I have a back pain, and it gives a very good relaxation, and it promotes your emotional well-being also. So it's very important that they stay happy and they stay calm during their pregnancy and through the delivery. And I highly recommend every mom to be, if possible, to do a yoga session, or to continue to do the yoga session throughout their pregnancy.
But definitely after learning it correct and learning it well enough from a teacher, I would think.
Of course.
Awesome. Yoga certainly helped me go through my pregnancy. And my daughter is now an athlete. She's a competitive junior athlete. And I could always feel that she moved with me even when she was inside, whenever I did yoga. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing yoga during my pregnancy. Back in a moment with our guest on Fresh Leaf Forever. just tell us a little bit about how yoga benefits athletes and how it can aid in their performance, and also on the meditation side of yoga, because we just didn't get to talk about that. So if you can touch upon that as well, I think that'll be a good thing for all of us.
Yeah, the yoga for athletes, it gives a balance. For example, I have a tennis player who does yoga. If they are more right-handed, you want their left hand also to get equally strong and equally flexible. Yoga brings a balance not only emotionally but physically also, and it gives them that emotional strength to face a tournament, and meditation will help them in being calm during the stressful. It helps them relax the tight muscles. The muscles become tight not only with your practice, and it can also because of the stress that they get, the muscles can get tighter. To be very quick in their field, whatever they are, if they are athlete and if they have to be on their feet and if they have to be quick in taking a decision at that time, whatever, however they want to move, yoga prepares them mentally and gives them that emotional grounding, a tournament or the season, to do better in their field.
Okay. As far as the meditation side of it, um, is that something that people can learn on their own, or how would you suggest that they go about it?
Meditation can be done it's a guided practice that they can start off if they're a beginner. It is not easy to sit for meditation. You have to fall into meditation. It is like a higher level. In according to the yoga, you do the asanas first and then you do the pranayama and then you fall into meditation. So it is a layer that you can people now, like everybody wants to get into meditation, and it's not that they can't do it. Everybody can do it. And to start off, they can follow a guided meditation, and they will learn how to sit for a longer time, focus on certain things, whether it is a breath or any visualization technique, and then they can do the meditation. It's really, really calming and very it'll be very helpful for them emotionally and physiologically for their body.
As far as the overall well-being and health, aside from the fitness side of yoga, when we say the asanas, can you also touch upon what benefits it really brings about, say, certain postures? Do they just give muscle relaxation, or do they aid in digestion or bodily processes inside? Can you just give us an idea on that as well, please?
Yeah. So all the standing asanas keeps you more grounded and gives you strength in your legs and this emotional stability, like the way you are rooted. For example, it could be just the tree pose, the vrikshasana. The more you're grounded, the more you feel at peace from inside, and that stability that you get not only physically, and that gets transformed emotionally too. For example, if you're doing a Paschimottanasana, it is a forward bend, seated forward bend, where your legs are extended in the front and you bend forward to touch your toes. It is very calming. Any of the forward bend, it is not only calming for your mind, but for your abdomen when it gets compressed into the thighs. The abdominal muscles, the organs in your abdomen gets stimulated, and when you release and come out of it, there is a lot of blood circulation in your abdomen, so that improves and aids in the digestion also. Any of the back bending, for example, any of the if it could be a chakrasan or it could be a ushtrasan, it's a camel pose, that opens up the heart, opens up the chest, and there's a lot of breath moving into the lungs, happy feeling that you get. It keeps your uh, lungs more expanded and more oxygen going in, and that gives you the breath becomes longer and deeper, and also the stretch that you get in the abdominal level. in the abdominal region and in your rib cage. That again, when you come out of the pose, is when you feel the benefit. Like when you're in the pose and when you come out of the pose, again, there is a lot of difference. Helps in being very cheerful, increasing the courage, being ready to face the world type of feeling with that. All the inverted pose where your hips are elevated above your chest level, all the glands, your pituitary glands get stimulated there. And the energy level is very high when you do your inverted pose. Whether it could be just a Shirshasana or it could be a wide leg forward bend. Any asana which is where your hips are above your chest level will be termed, it can be labeled as an inverted pose. Your veins are more relaxed in that, and when you come back again, you will see the benefit. And all of it should end in Shavasana. All the practice should end in Shavasana. And that is where you reap the benefit of the asanas, where everything comes to a homeostasis, where everything comes to a balance.
Okay, so that is like the relaxation posture at the end, correct?
At the end. Correct. Yeah.
How important is it for anyone to integrate their breathing correctly when they do yoga? Is that why one should learn from an instructor? That way they are breathing correctly, breathing in, breathing out at the right time when it comes to doing their asanas or the postures.
Breathing is very, very important, and it plays a very key role in the yoga practice. Whatever asana that you take, Sthiram Sukham Asanam is what is termed in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, where once you get into the pose, however difficult it is, you fall into the pose and then your breathing has to come back. Initially, there will be a struggle. Our breathing becomes hard, it becomes shallow, it becomes short, and you'll be breathing heavy. But when asana becomes more easy, when your your breath flows very fluidly, very easily, with no force at all. And to get there, again, as I said, it is a sadhana by itself. So it's a learning. Along with the asana, correct breathing is very important. And that is how the prana and the energy movement in your body also gets diverted or channelized.
Okay, it is definitely preferable that one learns everything correctly so they can have the maximum benefit from doing yoga.
Correct. So it is the asana, the breathing, and holding the pose, and get comfortable into the pose. Falling into the pose, coming out, all are very important. Not just getting into the pose, and how you come out of the pose also is very important. And a guided teacher can help you.
Okay, and they can also possibly correct whenever someone is not doing it right.
Correct. Very simple thing of to say, in a Virabhadrasana second variation. Your knee, typically, people tend to lean to one side of the foot, and to balance and to be in the center, having the weight distribution between the feet are very important.
So is that like the warrior pose that you're talking about?
Correct. Warrior pose has three different variations. I was talking about the second variation, Virabhadrasana, second variation, Warrior 2.
Is it necessary that people have to do any other forms of exercising or fitness other than yoga, or is yoga and by itself and all encompassing, and if you will, even for fitness purposes? What is your recommendation on that?
It is a personal choice. Some people are very happy with just doing. If they are doing their Ashtanga yoga, that itself is pretty intense. But I have seen many people take the strength training along with that, or running along with that. Again, yoga can fit into any of your schedule, whatever that you want to, or you're looking to do. Whether it is a fitness regime, you can do that. Or if I want yoga only for calming effect, for calming purpose, I can just do a restorative, do very calming yoga. But the other days, I can keep a little more a fitness regime into gymming or running or strength training, they can do that. It is their personal choice, and whatever is their choice is absolutely fine. There is no hard and fast rule that, oh, you have to do only yoga, or you have to do only this and not do yoga, or yoga and this. Whatever combination is fine.
So basically, maybe split up what you do in the week and incorporate yoga for well-being, and then still, if you're interested in doing something else, do that as well. But if someone chooses to just do yoga by itself, say most days of the week or all days of the week, would that still be sufficient to maintain their well-being and have it as sort of a fitness routine?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They have to choose whatever level they are in, and they can do 5 days a week, 6 days a week, only yoga, and they can definitely work on their fitness level, their emotional quotient, physical quotient, well-being, general well-being. Yes.
So can yoga and a good practice of diet also help with toning of one's body and also, say, possibly weight loss?
Yoga can be targeted for many things. So one is also weight loss. And diet plays a very important role in weight loss, where the balanced meal, a sattvic meal, is very important. Yoga helps them emotionally also to face the challenge, to go through the challenge of the weight loss if a person is looking for a weight loss.
As far as when one can practice yoga, is there like a time of the day that's preferable?
Preferably dawn or dusk, keeping our lifestyle in mind. Any time of the day is good.
Does one have to be, say, on like a relatively empty stomach? Is that the most preferred scenario to practice yoga?
Yes, that is very important. The full stomach is never recommended. You have to at least give a gap between your practice and the meal time.
So maybe even after coming from work, just freshen up and do like a very quick routine and then sit down for dinner.
For example, if you're working and you want to come home and do a routine, just 2 hours before you reach home, before your yoga practice at work, maybe you can have any small snack that will keep them going. Again, with an empty stomach, a long gap just after if you're super hungry before your practice, that's also not going to give you a good practice because your mind will not be there. So it's always preferable to take a light snack before, if the gap is too long. I mean,
yeah, that's good advice. As far as a takeaway for listeners from this program, what is it that you would highlight?
To get an inner peace, for a well-being, for a healthy body, yoga is highly recommended.
It was nice having this conversation with you, Vidya. Thank you so much, and we look forward to connecting with you again in the future. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Vaidehi. Thank you so much for having me here.